at the CCA workbench, and Hummingbird every week takes us off the deep end, Dave.
That's a good name, that Off the Deep End.
It is. That was a great idea you had back 10 years ago.
That's a long time ago.
All right, speaking of present day.
Well, we were talking about the sailfish, and one of the reasons why the sailfish is one of our favorite billfish is it's so accessible. You know, like Jimbo was saying, they're fishing for them 2 or 3 miles off the beach. They're very close to shore. They're a continental shell species, so that's probably the first billfish you're going to run across if you go fishing offshore is the sailfish, because they're close to shore. You know, blue marlins and white marlins swim a little further offshore, so that's what makes that sailfish so good. And he's a little fella in Florida. They don't get much bigger than 50, 60 pounds. You know, sometimes they go a little bigger, but that's rare. So they're little fellas, and you can catch them on all the same tackle you use to catch dolphins and wahoos, and it's even really heavier than you really need, because you can catch these sailfish on 20-pound gear, 20-pound test line. A lot of the tournaments even use 12-pound test line and spinning reels.
And the keys.
This is a little conventional Machaira 1011 SEA. It's perfect for a 20-pound test line.
Matched up with a
Solitaire rod, and it's 12 to 20 pounds. So be perfect for anybody. You can pitch with that thing. You can troll little ballyhoos with it. And that's how. It's another good thing about them is you can fish for them in a lot of different ways. In Florida, there's primarily 3 different zones and different ways we fish for them. In the east central part of the state, on the Atlantic coast, from let's say Cape Canaveral down to West Palm, we troll dead ballyhoos. We pull these big dredges. The dreaded dredge came from the east central Florida, and we pull them with these things on them, or we rig them up 3 in a row with big mullets and ballyhoos, 100 baits on them sometimes. So they'll use these to pull them and tease them up close to the boat where we can pitch them little ballyhoos.
Right.
And you have to do that up north because we have to cover a lot of ground. And the further south you get, the fish start bunching up, and the fellas start, instead of trolling, they'll put kites out where they're sitting, because the fish are in usually a zone between 100 and 120 or 120 to 200 feet, and they'll park out there and they'll put 2 kites up, 3 baits under each kite, and a couple of flat lines, so they can cover the whole water column from all the way down deep up to the surface with live baits, on the top with a kite with a live bait and no leader in the water. It's deadly effective on sailfish that are moving up and down in that water depth.
Yeah.
And those guys, you go down there and try to troll, and you'll get crushed, because you just can't compete with those guys. Some guys can. The really good guys will go down there and do it, but I can't. And then, and even the further south you go, down in the Keys, they'll do this thing called the run and gun, where they'll find the sailfish up in that powder blue water, showering ballyhoos and whatnot, and they'll run over there and toss live ballyhoos on spinning gear right into the fray, and that's almost an automatic hookup in those places.
You know what's so amazing is what you just said, describing sailfish in the state of Florida. We went from 120 feet of water to 250 back in, and now we're as tight as 60 to 90 in the lower Keys.
Even closer sometimes. They'll get right up into the reef on the perfect days. You can really see them up in there cutting in real shallow water, and that's a very special time. And what's another good thing about them is they usually run in packs. You very seldom catch one, so you can catch 2 or 3 at a time, and that's always a big deal. When you got little sailfish dancing around out there, 2 or 3 of them at a time.
So they're friendly fish. They like company.
Yeah, they do. And well, I like them better when there's more of them, because they get more aggressive. The more fish there are, they start fighting over the baits and stuff, and you get a lot more hookups that way if you run into packs of them versus a solitary one.